All right, YouTube, we're back with another layout update. This is going to be for October 31st to December 31st, 2019, and as such will be the last layout update of 2020. And just ignore the fact this is, by the time I upload this will virtually be the middle of January in 2020, but yeah, whatever. Anyways, so as usual, we got a lot of stuff from rolling stock, as you can see, to a lot of stuff in the layout room. So let's get into it. All right, so start off with the rolling stock portion of this update. This is a mix. There's a couple things I purchased. This is also a little bit some stuff you haven't seen before, or at least I don't know if you've seen it before. So we'll just start on the left and work on the right. So all four of these are what I picked up at the Nashville train show. Got a Southern boxcar wood braced. I think maybe it's been weathered. I can't particularly tell. There's streaks of grime on there, although I can't tell. I might touch it, I might not. This one picked up. This has been briefly touched. I did a little bit on the roof. I put an ink coat on the side, although it still needs more fading out. And then the find I'm most excited about was a 3-pack of these Walthers flats with the log bunk on them. And I got 3 of them for like $8 each. And all the train shows I've been to, sorry for the shaky hand, shaky hand, excuse me. All train shows I've been to, I have never seen these things. So to even see, much less get 3 of them for $8. These are Walthers cars, so well built. Have to change the plastic wheel sets, but hey, that's okay. And then, of course, another coal hopper. Everything except that needs plastic wheels. And that came with metal because it's a Proto 2000. They always come with metal. So I picked those up. Also picked up a 2882. I have tested this out at Kenny's and it runs pretty well. It's a little stiff, but it'd been sitting there for a while. So once it breaks in, it's going to be fine. And then also, the big reason I'm glad I bought it was we got 38 cars behind this thing on the flat. So on a 2% grade, that's 10. My goal of 10 cars easy, probably 15. So branch line engines, people. I'm trying to get about 3 engines I can use on the branch line. So picked that up. Really glad we got it. I thought it was a 280, but yeah, it's 282. That's okay. They popped the shell on the tender, so there's plenty of room for a DCC chip and eventually a sound chip. It does have a molded in backup light. I don't know if it's functional. Probably not, but it's there, so we can go back and add it. So that's what I picked up at the show. And then a while back, I bought 2 more engines off of Kenny. I got a Atlas RS1. It is Spokane International. I do admit I like the paint scheme, but eventually this is going to get stripped and repainted for the hawking. Picked up a Riverossi FEF number 835. I think that was part of the FEF2, because I think the FEF2 class started with number 830 and went up to like 840, something like that. There was something in there. But two-tone gray, so obviously mid-40s. This is going to look great with my two-tone gray UP passenger cars. And now I've got a set of of F units, and I got UP steam engine. Plus the big boy I got to get looked at. So I do have a soft spot for that. The latest acquisition is this. This is an Atlas Silver Series 8-40BW, obviously Norfolk Southern, and those of you who know, since it's Silver Series, it of course comes with a ESU lock sound chip. What people have said about these are a lot harder to program. I spent 3 hours at the club last Tuesday fiddling with this thing, trying to speed match it with my SD78 and SD50 for the cold drag. I couldn't get it, but Matt Ben, the guy I bought off of, he's going to bring up his lock programmer to Nolan's tonight, and we're going to try and get it fixed there. So I'll take the 2 engines with me, and we'll see if we can't do it. So, and it's Friday, which means Nolan's. FYI, side note on that real quick, I do have a couple clips. I'm going to get a few more tonight, and then I will have a layout update on his layout on progress there, so stay tuned. But on that, and this one, it's not new by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of new subscribers don't know that I'm pro freelancing the Hocking Valley, and they never had diesels, so just to show you guys, this is the official Hocking Valley passenger paint scheme. Gray on the bottom, black with the green stripe. And I think favorite view is probably right there down the nose. I just love that paint job. And then the other thing I do have an update on is this is that Atlas Roco S2 from the last update. As you can tell, it's been completely stripped. I repainted the frame and everything else gray. I got the trucks back in there, so now it's just ready to mill out do a tiny bit of mill work on the waiting for the decoder. Get the DCC chip in there, and it will be ready to go. I might go back and put a Soundtrax Micro Tsunami in there, but that's ways off. And then the other engine, this is not a new purchase, but again, you all probably haven't seen this. This is a Spectrum 8-40 BW. This one, Union Pacific, it's still straight DC, but it is nice and heavy. So the goal is to put this one, my blue box, that 9-44CW, and that 8-40CW and the concepts with my NS SD78 and the Mopac SD50. So get all 4 of those, and they're going to be the power for my cold drag. So hopefully, because right now both of them will pull out of staging. I put one on there, it's probably going to pull everything I've got pretty well, and then I'll put a 4th and I'll have plenty of power. So eventually, I want to build that coal car string back out to 110, and hopefully these 4 engines will be enough to pull it. So, anyways, that is pretty much it for rolling stock. Let's go in and have a look at what's new on the layout. All right, layout, and I wanted to do a dramatic review with this and everything because remember the last layout update, everything was pretty much in pieces. I'm still working on the 4x8s. I didn't even have anything else up, not even the 4x8s up. This time, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, ignore the dramatic reveal music. But hey, obviously the biggest thing is it's up. And it is bolted back together. The 4x8 is patched up. I got the track work and wiring patched up. There's a couple places where I need new feeders, but I'll get into that. It's part of the new track work. But there's this, and then I'll get to this in a minute. I even got the staging arm connected. And that right there, which is what those of you who watched the live stream saw, is the last framework section in, and that is the last piece of sub-row bed. So as soon as I get that in, get the track patched up there, get the track laid on the Y, get it connected up. Track work and wiring and bench work will be done. Only thing left to do after that is add the lighting framing on the other side over there too. So we have a place to mount all the LED lights. We're going to run off of the Arduino and some regular shop lights. So I'll have some pretty bright lights for working on the layout. I don't have to have the ceiling fan on all the time. Anyways, start off with the most obvious area right here. This is a rebuild of the Y section. And in reply to an earlier comment on the live stream, Sparky, I think you might have misheard, but the only radius that is an 18 is the continuous run connection here, and that will only be used for wiring locomotives. Everything else is a 22 and a 20, and then the radius on both of these is at least a 24, and the radius on the back there is at least a 20, probably a 27, maybe even a 28. So, and yes, I know that is too tight, but keep in mind in a couple of years, this is going to be completely dismantled and ripped out and replaced with the brand new layout. And that one, the only place that sees 18 radius is the branch line where there won't be passenger equipment, nothing over 40 foot and 280s, and the main line is all going to be 30 radius. So it'll take pretty much anything. But obviously this section is in, it's been painted black. This is not the final color, this is a base. Okay, people, this is just to seal the wood, seal the cork. So when I do scenery, I don't get stuff leaking onto the carpet because I finally have a nice finished train room and I'm not going to mess it up. But this will be the engine terminal. There's the base plate to the roundhouse sitting underneath here. I've got enough room. I'm going to put a piece of foam in here and run it like that. So I probably have enough room for one more stall. Or more likely, I'm thinking I might actually leave those three there and make these garden tracks. And then I think what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to put get a bunch of those like modular, they're labeled modular, the kits from Walters, and maybe the Diesel House, and kind of scratch build, kit bash, a machine shop or something off the back of this or off the side or something over here, and then have a loading dock for boxcars, because this is something else. A lot of people don't realize, especially in the 50s, engine terminals, they generated a decent amount of traffic themselves in switching, especially the larger ones, because everybody realizes, oh yeah, I got to drop off coal sand. What one industry a lot of people neglect was the machine shop. And actually, they would have a dock and they would get boxcars in of parts. Not wheel sets. Well, not like freight car wheel sets or anything, but they would get, the smaller parts like piping parts and all that for all the little appliances and all the piping on the steam engines and miscellaneous stuff, and just, regular machine shop supplies would all come in on that loading dock on boxcars. So I'm on all that. Turntable will go here. I'm thinking the 105 footer from Custom Mile Railroads, the kit, which is what the track charts say the actual turntable was, 105 foot. I might do the 110 motorized from Walters just because I want to be able to turn two 882s on this thing. But it's going to take up, I'm thinking probably about like that. And then from here over, and you can see one of the parts for the coal tower. But from there over is going to be engine terminal. So the way this will lay out, there will be a Pico Y right there. This will be a delivery track for coal, sand, water, etc., etc. Service track number 1, which goes under the coal tower. This will be service track number 2 alongside of it. And then this right here, coming off the end of that, this will be your outbound ready track. So your hostler, the inbound crews will drop their engine there. The hostler will run it through all the servicing, spin it on the turntable, do whatever you need to do over here. And then when it's ready to go, park it on your, park it on the outbound ready track, and then road crews pick it up off of the ready track and take it out there and couple onto their train and do whatever else they need to do. So that's what is up with that. Other thing I've been slowly pecking away at is putting cars in jammer eyes, so that's why everything is out all over the table. But I will point out right here some of those coal hoppers that I got. Most of them are over at the club. I just don't have room for them here. But these I've been going through batches of like 10 at a time, and I'm checking the coupler height, trip pin height, all that stuff. A lot of them still have plastic wheels. I will eventually get those replaced with metal, but for the time being, they're just going to have to stay that way. And I'll get them replaced one by one. Those of you who are new to the channel, this is old, but you haven't seen it before. This is how I weather the track. I soak it with a coat of gray, and then I'm going to come back and get my version of grimy black and do the check rails and throw some rust on there too. So that's that. New track work over here. I got the spur in, trim the ties, and then this is a 3D printed coal pit, which will obviously go there. And then the coal unloading silos for the GE plant will sit on top of that. I do need to scratch build the walls and stuff for the actual pit itself underneath the tracks, but that will come. So that spur's new. And then both of these spurs are new. We got those put in. They need to have feeder wires added, and then obviously get spray painted and weathered like the rest of this. But all good time. And then a couple other cars you guys haven't seen that needs worked on. EJ&E hopper. Yes, these are older Tyco, but the printing on this is pretty good, and I can change those body mounts. So, and I bought these off of Matt too. That's a stock car. So that's what's new on this side. Layout's looking good, obviously. Fascia. Something else I almost forgot. I can't believe I did this. Trees. The guy had like 3 or 4 trays of trees for $1 each at the show in Birmingham, so I decided to pick. I got like 30 of them for $1 each, 3 or 4 different varieties. And I know what you're going to say. Yeah, they look how cheapo. And yes, they are, but background, people. The background trees. And then, of course, I'll put like Scenic Express or something in front of that. So that is the deal there. Okay, so this side. Not too much. Well, a couple things have changed as far as track work. Unfortunately, the number 4 that was here did get pretty mangled in transit, which disappointing, but considering the rest of the layout made it here fine, I'm not going to complain too much. So replace that with the Pico number 4, and replace that with one of those, nickel plate products turnouts that I picked up at the estate sale hall a couple months back. And then the other thing, and this is what you saw me doing in the live stream last night, those of you who watched it live or are watching the replay, the siding, the main line, this whole yard ladder, cleared through all the way up to basically here, I've gotten weathered. Well, at least the first layer of weathering anyways. I still need to do the end of the tracks there. Maybe a little bit of touch up on the body, but it's getting pretty close. And then this does need to come up and move because that's the old location for GE, and I'm going to put a different building here. So this spur needs to come up and get tweaked. But so that's pretty much what's new on this side. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Printer right there is ready to go. So op sessions, I got to place them out switchless. And then this below will be tablet storage because I've got a whole bunch of old tablets left over that I don't need anymore. And one of them was Mom's. There's Dad's that he never uses. So I'm like, you know what? Make them Wi-Fi throttles. Did spray paint these 2 Gap Masters, so that track's ready to weather. And then, as you can tell, got the uprights for the backdrop, which backdrop is basically going to come here curved. There will be 2 pieces of hardboard, one on the front, one on the back, so you will not see these 2x4s. But on that, and then we come around, there's the painted connector section, and then we get over here into this bit. So new framework. This is one of the old sections, but I pulled the front, I pulled the back off, and I lengthened it, and then screwed everything in there. So this is, I'm using the old stuff and kind of mixing it together. But the other thing, which again you saw in the live stream, we went in last night and got a whole bunch of the risers put in for the sub row bed, and then got this pretty much notched and test fitted. Only thing is, I cut it a tad too short. Yeah, so I got to figure out some way to get around this. Not completely sure. I wouldn't mind it too much because I thought, hey, you know what? Let's make a really neat scene here. And let's put a little creek or something here. Put like a little culvert or a little pile trestle or something. Well, I need to get a piece of 1x and glue it or mount it somehow on the end right here so you have a place to end the track and the sub row bed. So I got to figure that out somehow. But that aside, we got all the rest of this down here. So these sections have been slightly rehabbed. I've been reworking the wiring, as you can see. There's a couple spare wires under here in this mess I got to pull out left over from when I was going to have signaling on here. These are basically how it's going to go. I'm going to get a number 7 curved right hand and stick it up here, and that will lead into this first track. Track number 2, obviously, will lead to that one. Track number 3 leads to that one, and track number 4. I may or may not run a engine escape track behind the gap back here. There is enough room, but I have to make the backdrop removable, and I got to figure out some way to support it on top of that. And that's going to be interesting. I might do it. I might not, because the op scheme on here, the old version of this, I had both of the branch line runs, plus the sawmill run, plus the Lancaster mix. Everything except Lancaster mix is staging. Lancaster mixed had 3 or 4 towns on it. And I thought, you know what? I will just want something simple. Want it simple operating scheme, simple to run, because this is not the permanent layout. The new layout is going to be the permanent layout, and I'm sick and tired of doing wiring and track work, and I want to get on to some scenery, building interiors, and kind of spend a while learning how to do that before I dismantle all this, completely tear it apart, and start a brand new layout, which, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for. This is going to be my best layout, and this is going to be the best fit for what I'm wanting to model. So location area, coal hauling, all that stuff. Which is part of the reason why I'm accumulating the engines I am, because I'm planning ahead for it. Anyways, in the meantime, though, I want to do some fun stuff, nothing but track and wiring. So this is being retweaked, which I had to do anyways, so we'll get it done. Like I said, the 4 bays wired up aside from those spurs and the feeders. Everything from here clear over through the Y is going to be on a reversing section. That's why I have the Digitrax AR1. I'm going to modify the wiring slightly a bit, so look up Fishplate Films video on that. I'm basically going to do what he does on here. Only other thing with track work that I almost forgot to mention is one of my old left hands that, in an attempt to make trains run through it, I mangled it up pretty well. So I'm going to have to replace that point rail and replace that stock rail, but it's pretty much going to go about right where it is, and then have a spur coming off, and I'm going to make this like a truck dump, or a really, really small coal mine, something like that. So wrapping it up, we moved down here. We got our 4 tracks, more freight cars. It's nice to be slowly getting the freight car fleet out and putting it in JMRI. And that's basically it. I got a panel under there. Got some tempered hardboard, and that's where the toggles go. So I will end on this brief note, and this goes back to the operational. So I'll end with this very small, tiny rabbit trail on how I want to set up ops. But the thing is, over here, you've got a really nice wide walkway, and 2 people can pass pretty easy. This is a 2-footer here, which I'm not forced to skinny along sideways, which is awesome. And two people can pass. It's not that you can't, but I want to minimize the passing because I want to make the people flow better. So everything to control that end of the yard throat, all the tortoises for those turnouts, the tortoise for the Y turnout over there, and whatnot. I want all to be on this panel. So on-off toggles for track power, for the turnout control, plug ports, throttle pockets. I want everything over here. So that way, when you're taking a train out or bringing it in, you can do everything from over here. You can stand here, and that leaves the whole rest of this clear for the yard crew to stand over there and work this yard, because they'll have their own toggles for the mainline turnouts on the fascia right there, and they've got a plug port down there. So I'm just trying to kind of keep the positions from bumping into each other too much. And then over here, obviously we'll have a lot more activity because you will have a hostler down there working all that, but you've also have a really, really wide walkway. So that's just kind of my operational thoughts. And I have a blank wall, which means I can put up some of my memorabilia. Yes! I actually do have a little bit of memorabilia, but you've never seen it because I've never been able to get it out. So it's going up there. So yeah, anyways, that is going to do it for a layout update. Obviously, the biggest thing is, hey, the layout is up. It's put together. I can run trains, and it's coming far along pretty well. So anyways, that is going to do it. Dang it. Again, I forgot to get a list of the new subscribers and shout them out. I apologize to you guys. I meant to do that. But you know who you are. Huge thank you for the subscriptions, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you to all the remaining subscribers, the returning subscribers. Thank you for watching the video. Drill, people. Comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And happy 2019. Thank you for sticking with the channel. And yeah, I will see you in the new year. All right, guys. Take care. God bless. A late Merry Christmas and a late Happy New Year. And welcome to 2020.